So there are loads of videos online showing you how to build a guitar. There's some great channels like Texas Toes, Crimson Guitars, where they have access to incredible workshops with huge amounts of tools, and they also have a huge amount of experience. So they make it look really, really easy. So I thought I'd do a video just showing you what my experience is like building my first guitar from scratch, but also show you some of the things that I found throughout the journey and show you all the mistakes that I made. And one of the things about YouTube is that you've got a benefit of being able to edit your videos. It's easy to hide things. So I thought I'd just get it all out on the table, show you all the mistakes I made, and then hopefully you can learn from those mistakes and then not make them yourself. So let's get into it. So before I get into showing you the guitar up close and all the mistakes that I've made on it, I thought I'd just cover off some of the key themes that I found throughout my journey. Now, the first one is do not underestimate the importance of sandpaper. I think it's really, really clear when you start building a guitar, you can sand it down and get it really, really looking good. And then as soon as you hit it with finish, all of those mistakes are brought to the forefront and it's really easy to see. So I would just say, take the time pre-finishing, making sure everything is absolutely flat and ready to go before you start applying any sort of paint or finish. Especially if you're using something like nitrocellulose like I used, it's such a thin layer of paint that it's really, by the time you start seeing the issues, it's hard to then get back. So I'll show you some of the issues I've had in a minute, but yeah, sandpaper, really, really important. And the second thing to think about is tools. So what you find is your first guitar build is probably going to be your most expensive one, because as you're going through the process, you will inevitably need to pick up a few luthier specific tools. Now I've got access to some pretty decent range of tools in terms of like routers, table saws, pillet drills, a bandsaw. So I'm not starting from scratch by any means, but what you do find is that especially when you're working on the neck, you are going to need a few things. So I've picked up fret saws, fret leveling beams, files, all these different things that you will need throughout the journey. There's a couple of areas where, I thought I'm spending 10 minutes doing something on the guitar and then I need a new tool. And I got to the point where I kind of just did without, and a couple of those areas where I didn't invest in the right tool, it caused me issues, and you can kind of see the impact on the finished guitar. So it's just worth factoring that in when you're thinking about the cost and what you're going to buy, because it will add up, and but definitely worth getting. I wouldn't skimp on the luthier specific tools. And the third thing I'd say is just don't be scared of it. I think one of the areas that I got in my head a little bit about was adding binding to this. So I thought, can I add the binding? Is it going to be an opportunity to mess things up? Obviously it's a really, really small channel. Any issues that you have, they're going to be really visible. And I kind of was like, do I do it, do I not? I ended up doing it, and actually adding the binding was by far my favorite part of the process. Routing out the channel, applying the binding. I used the acetone method to kind of melt the binding onto the guitar, and then you kind of scrape it down. I was worried about the paint, whether when I painted it, would I be able to get a clean, crisp line. I made a little binding scraper tool. I've actually got a video on that, which I'll link to the end of this video. But that actually makes things really, really easy to add binding, get a nice clean finish. So, don't be afraid to push yourself and try things. That's the whole benefit of making your own guitar, is you can do what you want with it. So, just take your time. YouTube is a fantastic resource. There's videos on absolutely everything. So, think about what you want and put those custom areas into it, because it's your guitar at the end of the day. I'd be really keen to learn from your experience as well. So maybe if you're like me and you've built a guitar before, drop in the comments below, what did you mess up on and what would you do differently next time? And if you are thinking about building your first guitar and there's a particular area that you're worried about, drop a comment on that as well, and either myself or someone hopefully in the comments be able to give you some tips and pointers so we can all kind of be better luthiers together. Now it's time, I thought I'd show you the actual guitar. Now if I show you it like this, oh yeah, it looks great, doesn't it? That's the best way to look at this, is to look at it really, really quickly. So as you can see, it's a Telecaster style guitar. It's an ash body. It weighs a ton. That's probably the first thing, is it weighs an absolute ton. I did actually manage to carve some body contours into the back, carved a little contour up here. Not that I'm a shredder by any means, but I just thought, it's a custom guitar, so you can do what you want. It's a mahogany neck and an ebony fretboard. One other thing I did with this one was I baked my own clay dots, rather than buying kind of plastic dots online. I don't really like them. So I baked my own clay dots, and that's another one which I was actually really happy with on this build. So in terms of what went wrong, first of all, let's start with the body. Now the first thing you'll notice is when you look at the back, there are no string throughs here. So when I actually tried to drill the holes through for the strings, I put it on a pillar drill, and I have a pillar drill that doesn't quite reach where the holes need to be for this. So I wasn't able to use my pillar drill because just the throat of it wasn't wide enough. So I decided, in my infinite wisdom, to use a hand drill thinking it'll be fine, I can drill vertical holes through, what could go wrong? I drilled the holes and they all look good on the top, and as soon as I flipped the guitar over, I couldn't believe how all over the place the holes on the back were. So I made a real mess of it, and there was no way that I'd be able to really salvage that. So what I had to do in the end was apply some filler and just get rid of that idea completely and just top load the guitar instead. Yeah, so if I was doing it again, I would definitely look to use like a drill guide. You can either get kind of like small little drill guides that just help your drill bit go down vertically, or you can get kind of like a pillar drill attachment for a regular hand drill. You know, they're only about 20 quid on Amazon, so I think that's probably the route that I'll go down next time, just to make sure that I'm able to drill down vertically and get those proper string throughs working, because it was a mess. And that leads me on to the second thing that went wrong with this body, and this was just around the finishing. So I'll put some close-ups so you can kind of see what I'm talking about as I'm talking, but first of all, you know, where I applied that filler and then sanded the guitar flat, you can see where the filler is. So, you know, that's the perfect example of everything looking absolutely fine and absolutely smooth when I had the guitar kind of like naked with nothing on it. And then as soon as I started putting the paint onto it, you could see straight through, straight away. So that is a bit of a problem. It's not the end of the world, it's the back of the guitar, but I know it's there and it's something for me to bear in mind next time. The other area that we've got as well is just up here on the body contour. So obviously I kind of carved all this out, and I think because of the convex nature of it, when I've been sanding it, there are a couple of areas with deeper scratches that you couldn't see before I started applying paint. And as soon as I applied the paint, you could see absolutely there's some scratches here. Because the nitrocellulose is so thin, part of me thought, oh well, it'll just fill it up, but it doesn't. It absolutely sinks in. It's such a thin layer of paint that it won't get rid of any of the scratches for you, so you really do have to put the work in yourself to make sure that it's level before you go. And once again here, just a low spot, which I hadn't realised until it was too late. I did try sanding it down, and I kind of started burning through the paint, so there's nothing I can really do about that. So hopefully I'm going to play this so much that it's just going to wear down, get a nice kind of relic look to it, and you won't see that, but that might take a few years. The next thing to talk about is the neck. Now, the neck was something that probably seemed the most daunting when I was starting it. I was like, yeah, I'm confident I can cut out a guitar body and route it around and that'll be fine. But carving a realistic kind of guitar neck that feels good was the bit that I thought, oh, can I do it? It wasn't too bad actually. It went quite smoothly, but it's actually quite hard to get a feel for a guitar neck until the whole thing's put together. You know, I was feeling and going, does that feel about right? When I put it all together, maybe the profile's not the ideal profile for me. You know, I did kind of just do it by eye, do it by feel, and you know, I probably change that. It's something I can still change down the line, but it's quite like a deep sort of D shape, and it's not really what I was going for. So if I was to do it again, I'd definitely use like a profile gauge. You know, I've got other guitars, so maybe put it on a Strat, get a Strat that I like, take a profile of that neck, and then use that when I'm kind of profiling the neck. Just to get a feel that just feels more familiar. It's absolutely fine, it's playable, but you know, it's just not the most comfortable guitar that I've got, so something to bear in mind. The next thing on the neck is the frets. So for adding the frets, you know, I looked at lots of different videos around making fret jigs, and they look quite, you know, a bit of effort to make. And you know, I looked at buying fret jigs online, which is just incredibly expensive, so there's no way that was happening. So I did the frets myself. Essentially the way that I did it was to cut the knot slot, draw a center line all the way down the middle of the neck, and then using a protractor kind of mark off at 90 degrees where all the frets needed to be. And that worked fine. I think there is one area, which one is it? I think this 13th fret here looks a little bit off. I don't know what happened there, but it kind of looks like it's kind of wider on this side. You can't notice it when you're playing, but once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. So I think next time I do this, I would invest the time in making my own fret jig. So I'll probably do a video on that when it next happens, but yeah, just bearing in mind that you've got to be really accurate with these, and obviously had a momentary lapse in concentration, which meant that I've got a slightly skew width fret. One of the other things around finishing the neck was the fret ends and kind of making sure that we've leveled all the frets, polished everything up and getting it to feel nice. So this was an area where I did just go, you know what, I'm going to do it myself. You know, you can get kind of fret end files, which have kind of either 90 degree or a 45 degree, where you can just level all the frets all the way down the neck. And by that point, I just felt like I bought a load of different tools and used them for 5 minutes, and then kind of like that part of the process was done. So I didn't buy it, and I just filed them down myself. I would definitely buy the fret file next time, just to make sure that everything was nice and easy. You know, there's a little bit of sharpness on there. It takes ages to do them individually. So I think just getting that uniform finish all the way down, fret files are definitely worth it, and an area that I will be investing more next time. And the last thing that I noticed when building this was the tuning pegs. So when I used this, I built it out of a template which I bought online, and it had 10mm holes in there, so I just drilled through the holes as they were on the template. And then I wanted to put on these kind of vintage style tuning pegs, and when I put them on, I realised that the posts were thinner than the 10mm and they were rattling around. So make sure that you are aware of the hardware that you're going to be putting in before you start drilling holes. Because I had to get some adapters. Now the adapters work great, you know, they change the hole down, they just drop it down to the right size, bought them, slotted them in, and it's fine. But you know, if I would have known, I would have thought, well, what tuners am I using? Drilled the right size hole to them to make sure that we're getting a nice fit first time. So there it is, warts and all. You know, on the whole, I really enjoyed making this guitar. I'm actually really proud of the guitar that I got out of it for my first time. And it's definitely kind of sparked a bit of interest in me, and it's something I'm definitely going to do again. I think for my next guitar, I'm probably going to go for a telly again, just because I think I can do better. Maybe to make it interesting for myself, I'll go for a thin line next time, just to kind of hollow it out, deal with the issue that I've got with this one, just with the amount of weight that I've got in it. But I kind of want to nail this, make all my learning on a Telecaster, and then from there go on to kind of weird and wonderful things and really see what I can do creatively to make something interesting. But you know, don't see this video of me showing all the issues that I've had as something to put you off. You know, just go for it. You know, you'll learn a huge amount in the process, and as long as you take your time, do it step by step, and do your research in between steps, I'm sure that you could do at least as good as this, if not better. So give it a go. Thanks for watching this video. On this channel, I'm going to be building more guitars, definitely, but I'm also going to be working through some shop projects as well as I kind of build out my little luthier workshop in my garage in the UK. So if that's of interest to you, then please do subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Cheers.